Alright, we are back from our cruise on board Grandeur of the Seas, and we are ready to get back down to business with the cruise news. And I got a couple of stories for you today. We got an update on masking policies for crew members. Apparently the state of New York, well, they want a cruise ship, and we have some updates from Hurricane Ian. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. So let's jump right in here with the cruise news and talk a little bit about last week, Hurricane Ian, and some of the stuff that went on with that. Now, the internet on the ship last week was just no good. It barely worked, if it was working at all. So we have quite a bit of news we have to cover that we were not able to cover last week. Just going to kind of hit a little bit of the highlight. So Hurricane Ian went up through Florida, just huge amounts of destruction, devastation, before moving up the East Coast and causing problems there, affecting people, property, cutting off power, and of course, closing all of the cruise ports in its path, and that itself just caused all kinds of issues for the cruise lines. All the cruise lines had itinerary changes. They had to keep ships out days past their return because the ports were closed, which of course created cancellations for the follow-on cruises, caused all kinds of delays of cruise ships returning back to port. Now, as of today, the cruise ports, of course, are back open. All of the cruise ships should be back today, and normal cruising will begin here over the next couple of days as they kind of shift the itineraries around and get everything back to the way it is supposed to be. Now, for some people, a couple extra days on a cruise ship, well, that's a good thing. It's glorious, extra time at sea, but it's not necessarily that case for everyone because, people are worried about stuff going on back home. They're worried about friends. They're worried about family. If you lived in Florida, you're worried about your property, your neighbors, and what you were going to go home to after the storm passed through the area. Completely get it, completely understand it, but from the cruise line's point of view, of course, the safest place for a cruise ship to be is nowhere near the storm. So yeah, naturally they are going to turn, and they are going to head the other way because, of course, safety of the passengers, the crew, and the vessel always comes first. Now, luckily, we were far enough to the west that we really didn't see any of the hurricane at all. All we had was some pretty rough seas, tossed us around, quite a bit. Enough that they were putting the seasick bags out each and every night on the stairwells, and come morning time, they were empty. So it was definitely affecting people, even on our ship, even further west like that. So our thoughts and our prayers go to everybody that was affected by the storms, and we pray for a speedy recovery. Now, there was a story in the New York Post where they were reporting that the city of New York wants to charter a cruise ship for up to 6 months in order to house local migrants. And they also stated that several other cities are looking at the possibility of also chartering cruise ships. Now, nothing's come out from the cruise lines. No cruise lines have said that this is a good idea, this isn't a good idea. We're participating, we're not participating right now. This is just a story of what the city wants to do. Because it's really going to come down to a question: are there cruise ships available to charter for that period of time? Does Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Line, Celebrity, Carnival, whatever the case may be, just have extra cruise ships or cruise ships that they're going to take out of service so they can park them somewhere for 6 months like that? I don't really know. Going to kind of have to wait and see what happens to see if this is just, city officials with a dream, or if this is something that would actually be a reality and something they could actually work out with the cruise line. The only cruise ship I know that's going to come available is the Carnival Ecstasy. Her final sailing is on October the 10th, just coming up here next week. So maybe instead of going to the scrapyard, maybe Carnival would lease her out for a few months, then send her to the scrapyard. I honestly don't know. Just wanted to share that story with you. And we'll have to wait and see if any of the cruise lines were to actually charter a cruise ship like that for that kind of time, and of course in multiple cities. And finally, what I think is really good news, not only for passengers, but really good news for crew members, because Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruise Lines have announced that the crew members no longer have to wear masks while on board the ship interacting with passengers. Now, of course, it is still optional for those crew members that want to wear a mask. Of course, they can still wear a mask, but it will no longer be mandatory, which means as passengers, we can actually see the faces of our crew members again, see them smile, see them enjoy the time they spend with the passengers. Like for me, I'm a little hard of hearing, so it'll be a lot easier to understand what they are saying instead of it being muffled through a mask. But yes, next time you go on a Royal Caribbean or a celebrity cruise, there is a better than average chance you will finally see your crew members' faces once again. Now, there was a statement put out by the Royal Caribbean Group. I'm going to go ahead and put that up here on the screen for you now. We are happy to announce that from today, masks are optional for crew. If you are willing to wear a mask, it should be with the company's logo. This is a huge step towards our return to normal life. This decision to wear a mask is up to every crew member. Read Celebrity Cruises' announcement to its crew. Alright, so that was part of the announcement, of course, given to the celebrity crew members, but it is for both Celebrity Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. And like everything that happens in cruising, usually once one cruise line does it, the others are pretty quick to follow right along behind them. So I expect that shortly we should also hear from the other cruise lines that the masking policy for the crew members will be lifting soon. And we can all enjoy our crew members again face to face no matter what cruise line you go on. Alright, and that is going to be your cruise news for today. If you have enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime a new video comes out. I hope everyone out there is having a really great day, has a really great week, and like always, we will see you out on the high seas.